Dear heart, there is something I want you to know, something that may have gone unspoken for longer than it should have. You have been giving for a long time. Not in the way people sometimes talk about giving. The kind that gets mentioned, appreciated, returned. The kind you have been doing is quieter than that. It happens in the early morning before anyone else is awake. It happens at the end of a long day when you still find something left to offer. It happens in the small moments that no one marks. The phone call you made because you sensed someone needed it. The meal you prepared, the burden you helped carry. The word of encouragement you gave even when no one was offering the same to you. And somewhere along the way, gradually, so gradually, you may not have noticed when it began. Your presence started to feel like background. Not because you disappeared, but because you became so steady, so reliable, so consistently there, that people stopped seeing you the way they once did. You became the kind of person others assume will be fine. The one who doesn't need to be checked on. The one who always shows up. The one others lean into without thinking about what it costs you to hold that weight. I want you to sit with that for a moment, because there is an ache in that experience that is difficult to name, and even more difficult to admit. It is not bitterness exactly. It is not anger. It is something more honest than either of those. It is the quiet grief of someone who gave genuinely, who loved sincerely, who served without keeping a record, and still arrived at a place where they wondered if any of it was truly seen. You may have even felt ashamed of that wondering, as if noticing the absence of acknowledgement somehow diminished your reasons for giving. It doesn't. Wanting to be seen is not the same as needing applause. It is simply human. And you are human, even in your faithfulness, even in your endurance, even in the quiet way you have continued to show up for others in seasons when showing up cost you something real. The years behind you hold more than people noticed. They hold late conversations you stayed present for long after your own energy was gone. They hold patience you extended when you had every reason to withdraw. They hold love, genuine, unperformed love, that moved quietly through the lives around you without ever asking to be recognized. And yet, here you are, still wondering, somewhere beneath the surface, whether any of it truly mattered, whether the years of quiet faithfulness left any mark at all. That wondering has been with you longer than you've let yourself acknowledge, and I want you to know I have not missed a single moment of what you carried. Not one. Not the times you smiled through your own exhaustion so someone else could feel supported. Not the seasons when you quietly rearranged your own needs to make room for someone else's crisis. Not the years when you poured steadily outward while your own interior life grew tired and a little thin. I saw the emotional labor. That is what I want to name carefully here, because it rarely gets named. There is labor that people see, the visible kind, the kind that gets thanked. And then there is the other kind, the kind that lives inside you. The energy spent absorbing someone else's pain, the mental space given over to worrying about people who never worried back, the way you held your composure in rooms where falling apart would have made everything harder for everyone else. That is real work. It takes something from a person. And when it goes unnoticed year after year, something quietly shifts inside. Not in your love, not in your willingness, but in the part of you that simply wonders whether anyone understands the cost. You stayed strong for people who never thought to ask what that was like for you. That is worth saying plainly. You hid your own struggles, not because you were pretending, but because you had learned somewhere along the way that your steadiness was what others depended on, and you didn't want to take that from them. That is a tender and serious kind of love. But tenderness carried alone over time has a weight to it that accumulates quietly. You may not have even noticed how heavy it had become until a moment arrived. Maybe unexpectedly, when you realized you were tired in a way that sleep alone could not reach. tired in a place deeper than the body. Some of you reading this know exactly what I mean. It is not a tiredness that asks for a day off. It is the tiredness of someone who is given from a genuine heart for a very long time, and who needs to hear in no uncertain terms that none of it disappeared into silence. If this message found you in a quiet moment, perhaps you would leave a small like or simply write "I'm here" in the comments. Subscribing gently helps carry these words to others who may be sitting with the same hidden weight. And for those who feel moved, super thanks is simply one way some hearts choose to keep these quiet conversations going, because the ones who feel unseen rarely seek out spaces like this one. They endure privately. They continue faithfully. They show up again the following morning and do it all over, not because they have stopped noticing the absence of recognition, but because the love in them is genuine enough to continue anyway. That kind of love is not common, and it has not gone unwitnessed, not for a single season of it. I want to stay with that thought for a moment because I think part of you has quietly doubted it. Not out of faithlessness, not because your belief has failed you, but because there is a particular kind of loneliness that arrives when you have served genuinely for years, and the silence around that service begins to feel like confirmation that maybe it didn't register the way you had hoped. That silence can do something subtle to a person. It doesn't usually arrive as a crisis. It seeps in slowly, in the ordinary moments, in the unremarkable Tuesdays, in the years that passed without ceremony while you continued doing what love required of you. And somewhere inside that accumulation of quiet years, a question took root. Not a loud question, not one you would necessarily voice to another person, but a question that surfaces sometimes in the stillness of your own heart. Did any of this matter? I want to answer that question directly. Every moment you gave when you had little left, I was present for it. Every time you chose patience over withdrawal, every time you extended care to someone who had no awareness of what it cost you, those moments were not absorbed into silence. They were held. There is a difference between being unseen by people and being unseen altogether, and I need you to understand that difference, because the years you may have written off as hidden were never hidden from where I stood. The phone call you made to someone who was struggling, the one that interrupted your own difficult evening, I saw that. The way you kept showing up for a friendship that had become one-sided, because you genuinely loved that person and hoped things would shift, I saw that too. The times you swallowed your own grief because someone else's need felt more urgent. The moments you decided quietly and without announcement to keep going. All of it was witnessed, not recorded the way the world records things. Not for recognition, not for public account, but held in the way that only real attention can hold something, with full understanding of what it meant, with full knowledge of what it required from you, with complete awareness of the love that was moving underneath the surface of every ordinary act. There is a tendency, and I say this gently, to measure the value of what we gave by how much it was received, to look at the years and ask, what did they produce? Who acknowledged them? What changed because of them? But that is not the only way a life of love is measured. Some of the most sacred things that ever happened between people happened quietly, without documentation, without applause. A word spoken at the right time to someone who never told you what it meant to them. A presence offered during a season of grief that steadied someone more than you will ever know. A faithfulness that continued not because it was easy or rewarded, but because something in you could not do otherwise. That faithfulness, the kind that doesn't require an audience, is among the rarest things I have ever witnessed in a human life. And you have lived it, not perfectly. You would be the first to say that. There were days the patience ran thin, moments when the giving felt more like obligation than love. Seasons when you wondered whether you had made yourself too available, too quiet about your own needs, too willing to absorb what others were unwilling to carry themselves. Those honest moments don't diminish what you gave. They make it more real, because love that costs nothing is a different thing entirely from love that continues even when it is tired, even when it is unacknowledged, even when the person offering it has quietly started to wonder whether they have been slowly disappearing into the needs of everyone around them. You were not disappearing. You were present, deeply, genuinely present in the lives of people who may never fully understand what your steadiness meant to them. And I want to say something carefully here, something I hope you will let settle rather than simply pass over. The love you gave in silence is not waiting to be validated by the people who missed it. It already mattered. It mattered in the moment it was given. It shaped things, quietly, invisibly, the way roots shape a tree long before anyone thinks to look beneath the surface. The child who grew up steadier because you were consistent. The friend who made it through a difficult year because you remained present without demanding anything in return. The person in the difficult season who felt, without quite knowing why, that they were not completely alone. That was you. That was the love you gave when no one was marking it down. I know there are years behind you that feel, in the quiet of reflection, like they passed without leaving much trace. Years of service that blurred together. Years of faithfulness that no one stopped to honor. Years when you carried the needs of others, while your own interior life waited patiently for someone to ask how you were holding up. Those years were not lost time. They were not invisible seasons in an otherwise ordinary life. They were the substance of something real, something that does not require human recognition to have been deeply, permanently meaningful. You were seen in every one of them, not observed from a distance, not noted and filed away. Seen, the way a person is seen when someone who loves them fully is paying quiet, unhurried attention. That is how I have always seen you. Not the version of you that holds everything together, not the capable one, the dependable one, the one others count on without thinking to ask what it costs. The one underneath all of that, the one who gets tired, the one who wonders, the one who has given so much for so long that they sometimes struggle to remember what it felt like to simply receive. That is the one I am speaking to, and I want that person to know, not as consolation, not as reassurance offered lightly, but as something true. You were never invisible to me, not in the hardest years, not in the quiet ones, not in the seasons that felt like they were passing without meaning or witness. Every act of love you offered, every patient moment, every hidden sacrifice, every time you chose to stay when leaving would have been easier. I was there, and none of it, not a single moment of it, was ever lost. There is nothing left for you to prove, nothing to earn, nothing to perform. You are already known, fully, quietly, completely, by the one presence that has never once looked away from you. Rest in that, if you are able. Not as a command, just as an invitation to let what has always been true finally begin to feel true. You are seen. You have always been seen. And the love you carried in silence was never as invisible as it felt. If something in this message stirred something in you, a memory, a recognition, something you've carried quietly for a long time, you're welcome to share a small piece of that in the comments. You don't have to explain it fully. Even a few words can be enough. And to those who support these conversations through Super Thanks, thank you. Genuinely, it is one of the ways some listeners choose to help keep this quiet space alive, and it means more than I can easily express. If this message is something you'd like to return to or pass along to someone you know who has been giving quietly for a long time, you're always welcome to subscribe and stay connected here. There is a membership space as well for those who feel drawn to something a little closer, but mostly, thank you for being here, for listening, for being the kind of person who still shows up, still gives, still loves, even after everything it has cost you. That is not a small thing. It never was.